I'd introduce this guy next week, but I'm pretty sure you know who he is. The legendary, amazing guy, Mario Andretti. Welcome to Pocono.
Thanks for coming.
Mario's been a little busy going in circles today. If you get a chance to sign up for that fastest seat in IndyCar, go do it. Because I can tell you, the man can probably go out there today and race his skates and probably beat us there. He's got it. So it's an amazing experience to get right behind him and go for a lap. I had lucky enough to do it last year. And it's pretty good.
Ours a lot faster this year. You should have done it yesterday.
I have so many other people doing it too. It's always got to work around here. So, growing up around here, Mario was a big part of my family when they started Pocono. A lot of people don't know Mario was actually on the original board of directors, and was instrumental when they were finishing this place before the 71 race. And there's a story that goes around here. George Ewald, who's our superintendent, has been here for 45 years. He tells a story about Mario coming up and taking a lap for the first time ever. And he claims you went into turn one and the car just dropped or flew or something. So let's get the real on-record story of what actually happened.
Well, the real on-record story was this. Actually, again, the contractor that did the first paving here did not realize the type of how precise he needed to be as far as the bumping and bumps and so on and so forth. And I, at the time, I had a Lotus sports car, and I said, get in there. So he got in the car, and I went at decent speed, where you can get something representative, and his head hit the roof a couple times. And I said, multiply this by 2.5 for the race car, and I said, your head will be smashed. I said, against the roof. So, that was quite a rude awakening for this gentleman as far as the job that he needed to do. So again, that was the story. That was the story. It was actually a bit disappointing for him that it's in those days he probably didn't have the experience, and he should have probably asked for the experience of the Indianapolis folks, which they did eventually, and that's what obviously then they finally did a proper job.
So next question, two-parter. Is there a particular race here that stands out in your memory? And of all your rivals, who do you enjoy racing with the most here?
Well, the first part of the question is very easy. In 1986, when I won the race, my son Michael was on pole for the race, and my other son Jeff was driving the Indy Lights, and he was on pole and won his race. So between the three of us, we cleaned house. And it was a hell of a party that night. That was a memorable day, as you can imagine. It would be hard to top that one, I think. But Marco couldn't do his part today, to add his name, because Michael won, I won here, so that would be nice. And he's capable. He feels very good about the car. As far as competitors here, I mean, all the tough ones were raced here over the years, over the decades, and I mean, there's never one. There's always, Voigts, the Youngsters, and on and on. I mean, it's Steve, John Cock, Rutherford, Sullivan. All these dudes were tough, and so that's what made you special. But this is a track that from the very beginning, I said it many times, is by far my favorite super speedway because of the characteristic, that what fourth turn, right? And each corner was, it's got a different radius and different banking. So you can imagine this is where you require some really good knowledge of the chassis to be able to do a good compromise. So, and it's challenging, and the more challenging it is, I think the more that we embrace that. I certainly was one of them.
So generations are pretty important around here. Obviously, like Marco, growing up in the family business, my brother and I are growing up in the family business, following our grandfather's footsteps. Looking back or looking ahead, what's one piece of advice that you could give to us or anybody to build on legacies and to keep that family dream alive?
Well, it's something that I think it just has to happen naturally, in my opinion. You cannot force anything. I mean, if you're in a business that's, you know, somewhat, I would say, where you're quite exposed and the kids could be maybe impressed early on, or, you know, they've been brought to this world, you know, with that ambiance, so, you know, it doesn't make any difference. In other words, nothing new. But the bottom line is, it's just whatever drives you as a youngster, you know, whatever captures your imagination. I think, and as a parent, you're just obviously going to be supporting them. And I said to my kids, and I think Michael to his own, right at the very beginning, you start them in go-karts, and you said, you know what, and they, you could tell they felt the pressure, you know, everybody, all the friends, you know, oh, you're going to win and all that. And I always said, you know what, you guys do it if you think that's what you want to do, that's what you're going to be happy doing. Don't do it for anyone but yourselves. And I made that very, very clear. And the bottom line, based on your question, is, you know, it's you have a family, you have kids, and if they have a sense of purpose at the very beginning of their lives, that's a wonderful thing. And the best thing you can do as a parent is just be supportive, unless, you know, they're going to drugs or something like that. You know? But if it's a right avenue and so forth, you know, just be supportive of your kids and that things are happy. There's a pride in having your kids continue in the so-called family business, so you know something about it, Brandon, and yourself. And to me, that's the ultimate, I should say, satisfaction as a parent. But there are other avenues that the kids want to take and that should be supported as well.
So, with your legacy, if you didn't go into this world of racing, what do you think you would have done?
Well, I think I would have pursued. I never had a real plan B, so to speak, but I think I would have pursued the career of a fighter pilot. So it's something close to this.
Something more to
You know, it's funny. I got to fly F-15, F-16, F-111s, and so forth. And these jocks are just, you know, we actually understand each other. You know what I mean? And they're all looking for wars. You know, they're waiting for some war somewhere. I don't care whether it's Middle East or whatever, so they can get through practice. And now we go for the races. Now we go for the real thing. You know. They don't mind going into combat, you know, the real ones. And but again, it's all about, you know, just dominating a piece of equipment that can be lethal. And a fighter aircraft is same as a race car. It's purpose-built to just do one thing. And there's a certain satisfaction in being able to control that. And like I said, I've had the opportunity over the years to meet many of these pilots and at different bases, you know, aircraft carriers and so forth, and they're all made out of the same cloth. You know, it's just like being at the driver's meeting. All these dudes are about the same when it comes to their objectives and so forth, and you know, I love that. And so, to answer your question, that might have been my alternate career.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to go with it. That's awesome. So Marco recently shared with us, we had the dinner down at his house in a week, and he shared with us that he'd like to get you out there, you've expressed interest in running an endurance race. Would that ever happen? You think that would happen? And what happens if you do it, and then your state's faster times than his state? Do you get to run that in his face?
Well, first of all, if it's going to happen, they better hurry up. I'm not getting any younger. I've been wanting to do that for quite some time, since Marco really came into his own, but the only way it makes sense if we have like the 3 generations. And believe it or not, the guy that doesn't want to do it is Michael. He said, I'm too busy, you know, I got a team to run and all that. He said, besides, he said, I'm too old. Now he's too old, but I'm not. You know, so you figured that one out. You know, but, you know, it's funny about being old, but during Indy, there was this lady that some of you may know that I took on a two-seater ride. She was 102 years old, and but they've been planning for 2 years since she was 100, and they kept saying, the family said that she was mainly worried that I'd be too old and if we don't get on soon enough to take the ride. She was quite a hoot, you know. It was really fun, but she was, you know, she was concerned about me, which again, she's probably right.
So your legacy kind of transcends sports. Who Mario Andretti is. You hear people all the time say, "Whoa, whoa, slow down! You're driving like Mario Andretti." What's it like to be such an icon? And do you ever get starstruck? And who's the star that you know kind of blows you away? Who's your favorite star that you get starstruck when you ever meet somebody and you're going to be kind of starstruck meeting them?
Yeah, sure, Cary Grant.
He's an actor, an old actor from
Yeah, as far as, you know, be Mario Andretti, I've never been anyone else, so I don't know but it's almost a compliment, you know, if you're naughty on the road, you mention my name. Look at it that way, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's I've been blessed, you know, with a great life. Been very fortunate throughout my long career that I've been able to dodge so many bullets and still be around. So I don't take that for granted, and because of that, as you can see, I started something within the family, and the fact that, you know, you're around so long, then somewhat, you know, the name resonates, I suppose. But again, it's just all I can say is that you know, thank the men upstairs for looking after me for so many years. As far as the stars, I obviously, just like anyone else, you know, you have certain appreciation for brilliant careers, you know, whether it's in sports or you know, or entertainment.